Well, hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking in the Word. And it is Sunday, so we are going through the book of Psalms. Every Sunday we look at a new psalm. And today we're doing Psalm 61. And it's entitled, Lead Me to the Rock That Is Higher Than I. Okay, that's an old, I think that was a line in an old Petra song, if I remember right. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a thing. Well, let me give you an example. This morning I was out for a bike ride, and I went out to Myakka State Park, and right now at Myakka State Park, the water level is low, which is kind of shocking because normally this time of the year it's really high and there's areas that are flooded, but not today. It's actually low. We haven't been getting the rain here like we have, which it's kind of odd because after the hurricane came through last year, that should have been a dry time, but it was flooded for a long time, that park. But now it's really dry. So I went to the office to show my pass to get into the park, and then there was all these notices. There's no clean water now. There's no boat tours. You can't use the boat ramp. And I'm like, oh wow. And I said, you can't use the boat ramp at all for any boats? And she goes, no, it's like a big drop off there because the water is so low, And then the boat tours, she said it's all, they're like stuck in the mud. Okay. And so I rode bike through there and I went by there, and sure enough, the boat ramp, goes down, this concrete goes down and then drops off right into the mud there. So that wouldn't work real well. But imagine you're out in Myakka, that lake, when you get out of it, it is really muddy. Okay, it's not like nice sand, it's mud. But imagine you're in that lake and you're like walking around on the edge there, and it's a muddy mess, really. And you're walking around and you're like, oh man, let me get out of here. And then you finally you're like, hey, can someone help me get out of here? With that mud, and as you're stepping around the edge there, and someone leads you over to the boat ramp, which is concrete. That's the rock that's there, and you get there and you're like, oh man, this is so great. This concrete, it's solid. Okay, it's not this mud that's all around you. And David felt like that in this particular psalm. He felt like, man, this is just terrible all around me. And he was saying, lead me to the rock that's higher than I. Okay, so he wanted a big rock, not some little pebble, lead me to the rock that provides stability. Okay, when I'm out walking in that nasty mud, I'm not stable. I'm falling down and everything else. But when I get to that rock, I am stable. And that's what David was asking God here for. So I want to read Psalm 61. It's actually a shorter psalm. It's only 8 verses. How about that? And this is it's for the director of music with the stringed instruments of David. Okay. It says this, verse 1: Hear my cry, O God, listen to my prayer. From the ends of the earth I call to you. I call as my heart grows faint. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. Okay, so here, it says it right here. He's like, hear my cry, God. And then he says here in verse 2, lead me to that rock that's higher than I. Verse 3, for you have been my refuge, a strong tower against the foe. Wow, he's like, God's been a fortress to him. He remembers that. I long to dwell in your tent forever and take refuge in your shelter of your wings. Okay? Normally, I'm not too excited about going to live in someone's tent because it's a tent. But if it's a powerful person in that tent, then I'm like, yep, I'll come stay in there with you. Because it doesn't matter who's coming through that door of the tent or through the side of the tent or whatever. I'm going to be protected. And so that's what David says. He says, I want to be in your tent forever. Okay? The tent also is the tabernacle. Okay, so the tabernacle at that time was a tent. All right. So he says, I want to dwell in your tent forever, meaning the tabernacle. Verse 5, for you, God, have heard my vows. You have given me the heritage of those who fear your name. Increase the days of the king's life. his years for many generations. May he be enthroned in God's presence forever. Appoint your love and faithfulness to protect him. Then I will sing in praise of your name and fulfill my vows day after day. Okay. The big thing I want you to see here is David is crying out for help here, but he remembers how God has helped him in the past and how great God is also. So those are important things. So in your life, when you get into situations that you need help, cry out to God and remember He's like that rock that's solid. The rest of the world around here is really, really wishy-washy. Okay. You can't count on one thing to be solid from one day to the other. Okay. Even you might think, oh, I've got this grand house that, yeah, it's going to protect me. No, I'm sorry. We do restoration work, and I've seen a lot of houses that were really great that water destroyed or mold destroyed or fire destroyed. Okay, so don't count on your house, but count on God, the rock, the solid rock, that He will be with you. All right. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm a regular dude walking in the Word, and I look forward to seeing you next Sunday as we continue on in the book of Psalms. But join me tomorrow also as we continue our journey through the book of Numbers. And tomorrow we're dealing with Balaam, who is quite a character. Lord's blessing. I will see you tomorrow.